Hi, it's me JD and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will be making handmade Christmas cards using patterned paper. Patterned paper, also known as scrapbook paper, can be found in your local craft store or online. For these DIY holiday cards, I'll be using some specialty paper from Tonic Studios. Pattern paper comes in an endless variety of different patterns and textures, but Tonic Studios really has some extra cool ones. They've got foils, they've got patterns, they've got textured cardstock, so I'm going to be playing with these while making my holiday greeting cards. As with my other card making videos that require minimal supplies, all you need for this are your favorite pattern papers, some scissors, any embellishments you have on hand, such as ribbon. You'll also need some adhesive like liquid glue, and you'll also need a paper trimmer for those straight edges. So sit back, subscribe, and we'll jump right into our first DIY greeting card. One of the trademarks of the holiday season is definitely the smells. In addition to all the lights and the sights of Christmas, you also can smell Christmas coming along. I don't know if it's just me, but when Christmas rolls around, I smell hot chocolate, I smell peppermint, I smell Christmas cookies, I smell gingerbread, and my mouth is salivating right now. So when I thought of the different scents of Christmas, the different smells of Christmas, I thought of Christmas candles, which come with the smells of Christmas already baked right in them. So I thought that'd be a really easy shape to replicate for a Christmas card. So what I did before, as you saw, I was just trimming down different sized rectangles for these candles, and then I'll take a piece of that gold foil cardstock and I'll hand cut out some flames. For these flames, all you have to do is cut out this football shape, and then you have easy peasy candle flames. Cutting them out of foil just adds that extra special Christmas shimmer, though my card is already pretty shiny with the pattern paper and this craft foil cardstock too as a background, which is stunning. Another way to have fun with pattern paper or even extra wrapping paper is to cut additional squares and rectangles using a paper trimmer for that nice clean straight edge, and then use them to make presents for your Christmas greeting cards. So once you have all your pieces cut out, just add some glue to the back and stick them on. To make them resemble Christmas presents even more, you can add some ribbon. In my case, I'm going to use faux ribbon because I'm using liquid glue and I didn't want the liquid glue to show behind the fabric ribbon. This is an easy peasy way of using your Christmas themed pattern paper or your wrapping paper, because if you're anything like me, then you've got a growing collection that is showing no signs of slowing down. I think I collect wrapping paper like I collect cardstock. Way too much for one lifetime. Building off the idea of a Christmas present card, I wanted to take a step further and build a 3D present. And that's easy enough. All you need are two pieces of cardstock that are the exact same size and shape, and then you're gonna score it right down the middle. Hopefully you use some symmetrical shapes because that is the shape that works best. So I'm just making sure they're equal, and I'm gonna score it right down the middle. And then I'm gonna fold it back and forth to get that crease in there. And now I'm going to attach two of these sides together with some really strong double-sided tape. You can add more pieces if you want, but I thought two would be enough. So as you see, I'm just lining up my pieces, making sure that I'm attaching them and they're perfectly aligned. And now I'll stick adhesive on the back of the entire new 3D shape I've made. I'll peel off the backing and then try to center that onto my card base. Now the reason why I'm using double-sided tape is that since this is a 3D card, I want it to be super sturdy and super stable because there's a 3D element. The great thing about this card design is that it will still fold flat in an envelope. And to add that extra special touch, I'm going to add a bow on top of my present. I stuck that on with some liquid adhesive. Now I'm just going to trim off the edges so it looks a little more pretty. This would be a great holiday card on its own, but you can also put like a gift card or money or a check inside your greeting card. So the present concept really makes sense for your Christmas card. For this next card, I'm going to break out the electronic die cutting machine and my circle dies. And that's because I can't cut a circle, alright? So we'll be making some ornaments for our card, and you can certainly trace around any circular object and cut it by hand. But I thought with circles, it's much easier and much more cleaner if you use a die and die cutting machine. I'll be cutting out some ornaments from a variety of different cardstocks, and once I have them ready to go, I have them laid out on my card base, and I'm using some metallic embroidery floss, and that is going to be the string that holds my ornament. But before I attach the strings, I'm going to cut up the toppers for my ornaments, and I'm just using some scrap cardstock, cutting out little rectangles from them, and then adhering them to the back of my ornament so they look like actual ornament toppers. This looks fantastic when you use a metallic patterned cardstock. Once those have all dried, I'm going to flip them over and attach the embroidery floss to the back with some double-sided tape. To attach the Christmas ornament to the card base, I'm going to use liquid adhesive because for this part, you want a little wiggle room to help center all of your pieces. So I started with the middle to make sure that I got the middle centered, and then I added the red ornaments to either side to help balance that out. Now I'll stick some more double-sided tape to attach the floss to the back of my card base, making sure the strings are nice and taut, and this card is just about complete. And while I have this beautiful gold foil cardstock out, I'm going to expand on the idea I used earlier with a 3D present and make a 3D ornament card. For this, I'll take out a bigger circle die and run this through my electronic die cutting machine. This cardstock is a high quality and cuts beautifully even through an electronic die cutting machine. And now I'll do the same as before. I'll get out my scoring board and score right down the middle of both of my shapes. And after I folded them, I realized that they kind of look like those Chinese fortune cookies too. So while you're making Christmas cards, you can make cards for Lunar New Year as well. I'll attach some more double-sided tape to that and attach the two ends together. And this 3D shape is just so cool looking. You could do this with a star shape for, the star on top of a Christmas tree. You could do it for the actual Christmas tree shape. I mean, and any symmetrical shape you can think of, you can make this 3D element to your paper crafts. I felt like my ornament needed some color, so I'm going to add a nice green bow to the top, and I totally forgot to add the ornament topper, but that's okay. And I'll just trim up the ribbon to make it a little bit cleaner and pull the string taut behind the card, and this ornament card is finished. This next DIY holiday greeting card idea uses Christmas trees. Now, I've done plenty of videos where I show you how to incorporate a Christmas tree onto your greeting card. This one is going to be a little different. What I'm doing is I'm tracing out some triangles to represent the Christmas trees, and I'm just using the edge of that cardstock because I couldn't find my ruler. Anyway, I'm using this pokey tool to help poke a hole in my cardstock, and then I'll get out my Tim Holtz Tonic scissors to cut out these triangles. Could I have used a die cutting machine? Yes, but I don't have this particular size and shape of dies, so I decided to do it by hand. Next, I'm going to trim out a 4.25 by 5.5 piece of that patterned cardstock, and I'm going to use this white cardstock piece as a cover die cut, and that really fun pattern paper will just peek out behind it. That pattern paper just really has this cool and interesting texture to it that's perfect for Christmas trees. And to add some bling to my Christmas trees, I'm going to get out some Nuvo drops and put those as the stars for my trees, and this card is finished. Now, this next card was not in my original plans for this video, but I was looking around my craft desk and I saw that I had a bunch of scraps to use up. They weren't big enough to hold on to, but I felt bad for throwing them away, so I decided to make a paper scrap card. And for this, I'll be using those scraps and cutting out little paper strips from them. Next, I'll take out a piece of copy paper and I'm going to put down some tape runner all over it, and my tape runner has run out. Whoops, I replaced that with another one, but I've got enough to make my paper scraps Christmas tree. So I'm just going to take those paper strips and just butt them up to one another in this fun pattern and make my own textured pattern paper. And I'm only making a small Christmas tree from it, so that's why I'm not covering the entire surface with these paper strips. Next, I'll trim down the area that I need, as well as remove some of these excess pieces hanging over the edge. As I mentioned before, I don't have that particular shape of triangle die, so I'm going to make my own Christmas tree by just using a pencil and ruler and cutting out the shape. As I was cutting my Christmas tree out, a rogue paper strip decided to escape, so I'm just going to attach it right back on and cut off the excess. Next, I'll add a bunch of liquid adhesive to the back of this piece because the scratch paper is now loaded up with cardstock, so it's nice and heavy and it needs to be secure. And this card is finished. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed another minimal supply paper crafts tutorial. I will catch you guys in the next video.